It was realizing that being good with women is not something you need to be born with. It's a skill you can learn similar to riding a bike. The difference is to ride a bike, you only need knowledge about physical movement, but to be good with women, you need more than that. It's not only about knowing how to walk confidently with a straight back and wear nice clothes, because to be successful with women, you also need to understand them at a deeper psychological level. And with riding a bike, it was more likely somebody who gave you a helping hand to learn the skill faster and refuel the fall. That's why having somebody on your side who gives you the right feedback is crucial. The problem was that even though I was consuming lots of content, taking action and talking to women, I was getting a few dates here and there, but most of them were just first dates that led nowhere. And on top of that, women who I was truly interested in didn't want to see me again. And now when I see in the rest of, I'm not wondering why, because I made a lot of mistakes.
Welcome to the How to Heart Show, helping men reconnect to the heart and empower others as the leaders they were born to be. I'm Vincent. My mission is to help you speak your truth, own your authenticity, and step into your power. The world needs the raw and authentic man right now. Join us if you're ready to make a change.
Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome to the How to Heart Show. Today I'm a really amazing special guest. His name is Matt Bartko, and he is a dating coach for entrepreneurs, and he helps men to get high quality women. What I got so attracted about Matt is because he's a young guy and he's really knowledgeable and he go through a lot in his life. So I'm really curious what he did to overcome his fears and where he stands now and why he wanted to make the decision to help other men, especially entrepreneurs, get a better dating life. So I really want to welcome you, Matt. So Matt, welcome.
I'm really glad to be here. I'm really glad that I can be here on this interview because it gives me a chance to speak to more men and also help them at the same time. I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really curious because like I said, you're really a young guy and yeah, you must have been go through a lot for you in your life. Who is Matt and why did you come to the decision to help men and especially entrepreneurs?
Okay, so I've been trying to improve my dating life for 8 years now. So I started very early when I was like 15, and I was just entering high school, and I faced a lot of like rejection, and I had trouble with being social, and I didn't have friends, and it was quite hard in the childhood. And when I was 15, I already had like two breakups, like two like heartbreaks. And at some point, like after the second heartbreak, I was like, okay, I will fix this part of my life no matter what. I will work on it until I get it done and until I'm like satisfied with the results that I'm getting. Like many others, I've been through tough times. It wasn't very easy because when I was in primary school, I was like bullied. So there was a quite tough time. And I saw other guys having success with women. I was thinking like what's wrong with me, like why I don't have that success. And to make it even worse, when I entered high school, there was only less than 5% of girls in the entire school. Like yes, it was IP. And even for that 5%, there were only a few that were actually attractive. To add to the mix, my social unawareness and offending women because I couldn't see them correctly caused a lack of options. Plus, I always lived in small towns with less than 80,000 people, which limited my options even further. But along the way, there was a turning moment after the second breakup when I decided to figure it out. So I embarked on this self-development journey, devouring everything that helped me to improve regarding dating, female psychology, relationships, and fitness, which I'm a big fan of. But there was one light bulb moment that changed everything. It was realizing that being good with women is not something you need to be born with. It's a skill you can learn similar to riding a bike. The difference is to ride a bike, you only need knowledge about physical movement, but to be good with women, you need more than that. It's not only about knowing how to walk confidently with a straight back and wear nice clothes, because to be successful with women, you also need to understand them at a deeper psychological level. And with riding a bike, it was more likely somebody who gave you a helping hand to learn the skill faster and refuel the fall. That's why having somebody on your side who gives you the right feedback is crucial. The problem was that even though I was consuming lots of content, taking action and talking to women, I was getting a few dates here and there, but most of them were just first dates that led nowhere. And on top of that, women who I was truly interested in, didn't want to see me again. And now when I see in the retrospect, I'm not wondering why, because I made a lot of mistakes that turned them off. I wanted to be that confident social guy that's popular, desired by women, and admired by other men. How you probably want to become as well. And even though I had quite a level of confidence, I was approaching many women I didn't even know after all. I was still missing something that would help me to meet more high quality women and get those second dates were my biggest struggle at the time. So to shortcut my journey, even though I was skeptical, I decided to join multiple dating coaching programs and give my best. And the first one I joined, just like 2 weeks in, I got a long-term girlfriend. So the coaching became more about setting boundaries and managing this long-distance relationship. And long story short, we broke up after 8 months and I was heartbroken again. The following 6 months were really tough because not only I wasn't able to accept this fact which hindered creating connection with new women, but also my work performance declined drastically. I couldn't focus on the work on decent level, and home office and quarantine at the time didn't help either, but I didn't want to give up. And I know that many of you guys who might have gone through the same thing where you gone through a breakup and you try to recover, it's not an easy thing to do. But if you stay consistent and work on yourself, after some time you will heal and you will be better than before. Regarding giving up, like I felt it was the biggest thing to do, and I wanted to change the IT job I had. So I started driving beside my full-time job. I wanted to create my own fitness clothing brand. And despite many people doubting me and making fun of my business idea, I decided to give it a shot. This idea failed after 6 months, but I wasn't willing to give up. So I took a leap of faith and started my own business as a freelance copywriter, which deepened my knowledge about psychology, selling, marketing, which gave me a mindset of abundance. And the freelance job started taking off after the initial 6 months of day-to-day grind. In a few months, I started to travel in different countries, meet amazing women, and finally got positive momentum and seeing my skills drastically improving every month. And on top of that, I met many successful entrepreneurs who share the same drive for business and want to improve with women along the way, so we help each other. And that's one of the reasons why I decided to help entrepreneurs, because I was in those social circles. Those entrepreneurs became a very good friend of mine. And to foster my progress, I joined different business and dating coaching programs. Heck, in the last 3 years, I spent at least $14,000 in coaching. But it was well worth it because now I'm dating 2 to 3 high-quality women per week who I find fully attractive, having amazing friends all around the world, traveling to exciting countries, living in a big vibrating city full of life I always wanted, and running my online business that's fulfilling, that I'm looking forward to every day. And because I wanted to help other entrepreneurs to overcome their fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs to be able to attract women on a regular basis so they find fully attractive. Almost a year ago, I decided to help other men do the same. And if you ask, like, so what's the difference between me and you? Nothing. I'm just a regular guy who decided to become the most desirable man possible and make most out of his life. And if a regular guy from a small village can do this, you can do it too. Just think about how amazing your life can become if you take a leap of faith and commit yourself creating the dating life of your dreams. So that was my
Yeah, Matt, that's really fascinating, especially what you've been through, and I can really resonate with being bullied and really being put inside a box. So how was it for you to what was it for you that you got so bullied so much? What did you think about yourself? Did you see that you're different or weird and ask yourself why did you were picked on, or what were your feelings? What went through you?
Yeah, so actually the reason why like I was always the one bullied was that I actually could stand up for myself, but let's say I wasn't physically strong enough because the bully was always like the fat guy that was higher, like much taller, much like bigger, heavier. But there are also even like weaker kids than me. But the thing was that it was more fun for them, for the bully. I wasn't the kid that like didn't do anything. I stand up for myself. So for them, it was a challenge. So that's why I think they always picked me. And it wasn't very easy because it was right from the kindergarten basically and up to on high school it was more like it wasn't bullying like physical bullying. It was more about like when I said something stupid, like they kind of like make fun of me because I'm quite honest, sometimes even too much. So when I said something that didn't make sense, like they just made fun of me. So yeah, that's why I think it happened. But I learned how to like stand up for myself and how to create respect from other people and like how to set boundaries.
Yeah, that the thing is, setting boundaries is really, really important. But when you're so young and you're like this grown up or older guys, they're bullying you, you feel really close. You feel really like there's no escape. And I think that's really tough for a lot of men to see when they get bullied, their self-esteem, they get crushed because they think they're not good enough or they're not worthy enough. So I think a lot when a lot of men hearing this that you get bullied, it's good to work on yourself. Like what Matt said, you have to start learn to get better at understanding yourself, but also not take it personal and work on yourself to go to the gym and start reading self-development books and all of that. So when did your awakening start? In what area in your life? And how old are you again?
I will be 24.
24, yeah.
24.
So when did it for you? Because this is really curious for me because my awakening started at 28. But when did it start for you that you realized now I need to make the change? Now I need to do something about it.
Regarding my dating life, it was when I was 15, so maybe even 14. Like it was still even on primary school that where I decided to. I saw some, let's say, YouTube videos, and I got into self-development that way. After some time, I started reading books. First of all, like it was more YouTube videos about self-development, pickup, psychology. Also, it was like software engineering because I wanted to become a programmer at the time. So it was also self-development in like intellectual way. And regarding like creating like more respect, it was later because I was always I didn't care about how others view me, and I didn't take things personally, even though I probably should have been taking things like more seriously when like people like make fun. Like I was kind of like going with it, and I just didn't care that they are like making fun of me, and I kind of like just like brushed it off. And many times it was funny for even for me when I like did something stupid, let's say. But at some point it was a little too much. The turning point was when my friend actually created a website about me, and it was kind of like a in a funny way. And I was like, okay, like that's a little too much. First, like I had fun because it was funny. It was funny idea. But after some time, I was like, okay, it's a little too much. So I told him I actually tried to like solve this issue, and it wasn't so easy because first, like he didn't want to, but after some time, I was like, okay, it was probably too much. And after that point, I was more aware of how other people see me, and I was more assertive with setting strong boundaries. So I have respect from other people. So I would say the biggest issue was that I didn't care enough, like how others view me.
But you didn't care enough about others or not about yourself? Because yeah, I think there's also both because I think when people are trying to judge you, you say like, well, I don't care, but deep down inside, you still care because you're being judged and you want to be seen as like, hey, I'm a likable guy, like, hey, I'm also here. So I think a lot of men, and I think what I really want to applaud you for is really to step up your game and not really in the game in a pickup way, but really to step up like, hey, I'm worthy enough. I'm this amazing guy that wants to have an amazing life. And you stepped out of the ground and you said like, hey, I'm gonna make a change. So that's really fascinating for me because once I got out of my fears, it took me a long, long time to get out of it. I really needed to get help. I did a lot of research, I did a lot of searching, but you found a way within yourself and the things that you've done that you want to make a change. So that's really cool that there's a lot of people that are so stuck in their life and not making a change, but you really decide from the heart like, hey, I want to make a change. I want to make a life. of my own and start to have dating with amazing girls, and also to enrich your life, that you have like good friends, you make good friends and you travel over the world and you really want to make, yeah, to make a mark on life, like, hey, I'm here, I want to show who I am. So that's really cool. About the coaching, so you explained that you coach entrepreneurs. So how did you come up with that you want to not just coach regular guys, but just entrepreneurs? Where did that desire come from that you want to coach them?
I would say one thing is they're more coachable, and if you're an entrepreneur, you probably invested in yourself, let's say financially, emotionally, and also the time. And entrepreneurs usually understand better the investment in themselves regarding all of those things, not only financially, but also regarding time and effort. That's one of the reasons. And second reason is that in the recent years, I met many entrepreneurs, and they were actually very similar to me. They were usually, on average, I would say they are more into self-development. So I feel like they are more like me. Most of my friends that I have right now, all of them are entrepreneurs or striving to start their own business. Those reasons are why I decided to help entrepreneurs specifically.
And the question that came up with me is the high quality one, because you if when you're an entrepreneur, you look for women that has like high standards, or that's working on herself, also have like this high standard of quality of life. So what is it for you that the difference between just a standard girl that goes her own thing, or a woman that is a high valuable woman that sees her value and knows what he wants in life? So what can you make the difference between those type of women for an entrepreneur?
Okay, so it comes down to your preference and to the ideal woman that you want to attract. That's one of the exercises actually I do with my clients to write down exactly what kind of woman. So it comes down to preferences, like personal preferences. But for me, it's a woman like to work on herself. So ideally, let's say she's hitting the gym or she's doing some sport or doing some type of physical activity to be in a good shape physically, but also she has some goals for herself. She's not like a typical party girl, out way too much, like every weekend. She's like not drinking too much. For example, I don't want a woman that in the long run, I don't like when people smoke. Same with men. So because she takes care of her health as well, and she can be supportive. So she can support me in my business, in my hobbies. There are other things that are like I would say benefits. A woman who likes animals, for example, is attractive for me because I like animals as well. Women who are compassionate, they can also give not only, yeah. Every man wants attractive woman. It's how we are built.
Yeah, Matt, the thing is, what you were saying is really important, because if you have like a party girl that just wants to go out and have fun, it doesn't feel aligned with what you do. You're gonna be nurturing her instead of
Yeah.
working together. And that's what I also see with myself. Now I'm on this entrepreneur's journey with this podcast. Yeah, I want to connect also with women. I'm not gonna close them out, because also they have some things that they can teach me as well. But now that I'm on this journey, I also like to have like a high quality woman that stands in her value, that knows what she wants, and that you can work together. So that's, as an entrepreneur, that's really really important to have, yeah, a high standard quality woman. So what you're doing, that's really cool. And like I said, especially because you're so young, that you're already doing this, that's really really cool. You have a really a gift and a talent for doing this. So again, I really want to applaud you for that. What is it that when somebody's gonna work with you, what are you gonna teach them? What is your specialties?
My area of expertise is helping them to overcome their fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs, because those are responsible for, in my opinion, at least 90% of your game. Because if you have good sub communication, if you can have strong eye contact while having a relaxed body, speaking slow, speaking loud, clear, with good tonality, then it will be much easier to attract women because they will see that you're a confident, calm guy. So I'm helping them to overcome those fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs. and also working on how they on ways how they like structure their day, helping them to first that's what kind of woman they want because that's very important to find places where they can meet them, and also working on their game from the outside perspective as well regarding how to move the conversation forward, having a rough structure so don't feel like they are afraid they will run out of things to say or they don't know what to say to women. So I also work on this side, but the most important thing is that I'm helping them to overcome their fears, insecurities, limiting beliefs. So if they have, let's say, fear of rejection, one of the biggest mindset shifts that helped me to look at it from a perspective that you either go up to talk to a woman, you create amazing experience with her, one of the ways how you can, and the other way is that she will reject you, but you take it as a feedback and you improve. So if you have this mindset, you have literally nothing to lose. So either way, it's a win for you. You either create amazing experience with her or you learn something. It was probably the biggest mindset shift that helped me to, let's say, overcome. I never had like very strong fear of rejection. I had like a fear of what other people think. So that was what I was working mostly on for myself. And there are like many different mindset shifts that actually help other fears as well. For example, this one, like having fear what other people think. So I can go more deeper into that. But I had a call with one mindset coach, and he actually teach me this to be fully transparent. And it was actually quite interesting because I was telling him what have been like my mindset, let's say, struggle. And I told him that sometimes I feel a little bit like anxiety when there's a very close environment, let's say in a bus. Very few guys actually can like approach a girl in a bus because there are like lots of social pressure. And probably I would say, in my opinion, one of the hardest environments. But he told me like I was telling him about one time I approached one girl in a bus and I was feeling a bit nervous. And he told me like, bro, like if I would see a guy approaching a girl in a bus, I would fucking think he's a top G. And I would have so much respect for him that he has the balls to do it. I was then like, this is amazing mindset shift. Most guys think, okay, like he will like, I don't know, judge me. If it goes wrong, I will need to stay at the same place, probably even near that girl if it's a fake but not so easy environment like a bar, let's say. I would say much easier in a bar. But after this mindset, I was like, damn, like this is really deep. And that helped me really to not care what other people think. Because if you think like they will think about yourself as a guy that has balls, if you do it, then it feels even empowering to do it.
Yeah.
So this was one of the biggest mindsets as well.
Well, Matt, thank you so much for sharing because I felt the same way about doing that as well. To talk with people on the street or in a bus or in another social pressure place, you notice once you've done it, it's not so scary as you think because it's in the head. You believe people's gonna judge you or people gonna laugh at you or people gonna say something offensive, but it isn't. And like you said, it's really the courage to do it. It gives you so much confidence, and you will see people don't care. People are so busy with their own lives, they're not gonna see you or they're not even notice you because usually they're on the phone or they're doing something else. So that's a really powerful story that you shared that it's really important to get out of your head and go into your heart. And also what I want to touch on is that you said about creating because a lot of dating coaches say like you need to approach, you need to approach, you need to approach, and you need to get her number, you need to get on a date, you need to get. But you explain that you need to create, and that's really a mindset. Once you're gonna start doing that, create together with her, you're gonna the pressure is less. You're not gonna be forced like, oh, I see this girl now, I need to talk to her. It's like, no, I see this girl, I'm gonna create something with her. And if she says that's yes, that's fine. And if she says no, that's fine too. And once you make that change in the side of the mind, the door will open. So yeah, that's really cool that you mentioned that because I've been in the pickup for a couple of years and they teach you only to get and you explain that you need to create. So yeah, again, especially when you're doing this and going into your phase like in such a young young stage of your life. That's really cool that you I know that you're on the right path and that you do it from the heart. And that's so important that we learn as a man that we also operate from the heart and not from a selfish way to get a girl. Also to nurture her as well and see her for who she is. And not just with high quality woman, but with every woman that you meet. But in your case, yeah, it's really cool that you do this in a way of create with your business and things that you're doing. So I have a couple of more questions that I want to ask is what were your biggest fears and obstacles when you started with this, with your journey?
Probably location. I was always living in a town, so it was quite hard because like when I was in high school, like it was IP, there was literally probably 5 to 10 girls in the whole school. I was actually, I wouldn't say pushed because it was my decision to do cold approach. I was kind of like, let's say, pushed to do it because I didn't have girls in my school. There were like very few. What was the question again? Sorry.
What was your biggest fears and obstacles in your journey that you had to overcome?
Probably fear what other people
Yeah.
think. That was probably my biggest one. And still, like, to be honest, I still have it to some degree. Like, everybody has their fear, but it's much less. It's not to a such degree that it limits me from doing what I want.
Yeah, you really have a passion for it, and that's really cool because I've also been talking about that as well, about finding your purpose, and that's so cool that you found it at such a young age, that you found your purpose and that you want to help other men achieving this desire of getting more out of life, and especially with entrepreneurs, that's really cool that you obtain that and you step into your power and you move with the skills and the knowledge to help other men achieve the same as you did. So yeah, again, that's really cool. And thank you so much for sharing. What advice would you give to men when they listen to this, especially where you're coming from? What advice, or let's say like your best advice, would you give to men?
I'm not sure if I understood the question exactly. Like, if I'm coaching them or
Yeah,
like if
well,
they're listening to this podcast.
no, it's more like you've been through a stage now in your life. So you've picked up some things, you learned some new tricks or things. What advice would you give to men that's struggling and say like, okay, I want to make a change. What would you give them? What is the first thing that comes up that you've noticed like, hey, I want to give that to the listeners?
The best advice is like to get a coach,
Absolutely.
or if not a coach, at least somebody who can help you, like a friend who can hold you accountable, who can give you feedback. Because doing things on your own, not only in dating but also in general, is very hard. And if you don't have that outside perspective, it sometimes it takes you years to improve. And I'm not saying that only like to sell something. It doesn't even need to be dating. If it's even a business, let's say, uh, people that are super successful, all of them have coaches.
Yeah.
It can really shortcut the journey. And for example, if you don't have, let's say, the finances to afford a coach, like find some friends that will have the same goals, because your environment will have the biggest impact on your goals. The biggest improvement I saw in my journey regarding dating was when I moved to the bigger city I moved, the more exponential progress I had, because bigger cities are better in general because there are more opportunities. So my advice would be to get somebody who can give you feedback, who can push you, hold you accountable, somebody who you can learn from. So somebody who's ideally further along the line than you, because they will have different points of view things differently than you. The best combination if you want to improve the fastest.
That's a really good one about getting a coach, and that's so important because sometimes we feel we want to do everything alone. But the good thing is with a coach, they already a step ahead, so they can teach you what you want and they can give you guidance and also be keeping you accountable for you to move forward in life and get the things what you want. If they want to work with you, what do they get out of it if they want to work with you?
The most important thing is that I'm helping my clients to overcome their fears, insecurities, and limiting beliefs. Helps you not only in dating, but also in social interactions in general. So if you will be able to be more social, you will find friends easier, create deeper connections, and create connections easier than before. Because you'll know how to talk to people to make them feel good about themselves and about talking to you. So probably most of the people listening to this already heard about the fact that you should focus on the other person and let them talk the most of the time. People talking about themselves. If you have somebody that's a coach, they can hold you accountable. So accountability is a big part because if you will feel down and you're doing it on your own, you will have no other way how you can stay disciplined or motivate yourself. Then it'll be quite hard. So accountability is the biggest one alongside with overcoming those fears. Like if men have like a fear of rejection, I can help them to overcome it by having one-on-one calls with them and working deeply on those fears, insecurity, limiting beliefs, and also helping them to avoid the mistakes that I made in the past. So that will shortcut your journey a lot. Tell them like what they should do in certain situations.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really the key. Like you said, there's entrepreneurs or high influence people. They also have coaches. So if you want to get more out of life, you need a coach. And yeah, it's good also to do some research and reading books and all of that. But eventually, you're gonna need somebody to help you out to overcome these obstacles. Because what I've seen with myself is I didn't want to do certain things because out of trauma, out of fear. But as a child, we need we when we're young, we need somebody to hold our hand. And then once we get over it, we're safe. We feel good, like okay, we can do it. And I feel that's also with people that we still this inner child is still inside of us, and we need guidance. We need help to get through those obstacles or through those fears. So really powerful if you have a really good coach and knows what he's doing. And like I said with Matt, yeah, I really have a high respect for you because you're so young and you're so driven and you found your purpose. So I really want to again just yeah, I wish I had that drive when I was younger. So I really want to tell you like yeah, keep on going, man, because this is amazing what you're doing. So my final question that I have for you, Matt, is what book do you recommend when they want to start with their journey as in dating?
How to influence and influence people by Dale Carnegie. This book has probably the biggest
Yeah,
impact on my
I
growth
agree.
and my coaching
I agree.
direction. It will not only help you with dating, but also in social interactions in general. There are so many golden nuggets in the book. I actually like write down even like notes from the book into my feed because there are like so many things.
I agree. I absolutely agree because it was my first book that I've read. They changed my life completely, and I will tell you a story about it. I was reading that book, and I was in a page, at a certain page in the book, and I got a fight with a friend, and I was in the middle of the fight, and there was intense, really really intense. So I was reading this book, and I was like, okay, you need to do this and this and this when you were in when you have a fight with a friend. I was like, man, is this coincidence or what? So I did everything what is written in the book. I did it on my friend. It was magic. What was telling in the book happened with my friend, and I was talking with him. I applied what was in the book, and then he started to change. I was like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, and I didn't know what you're going through, and let's talk about it. It was like, man, this is amazing because that got my desire of reading books. That was for me my wake up call that I'm never gonna quit reading books because it's gonna give you so much new knowledge, but also it's gonna help you if you apply it. So I really love the recommendation that you gave me, and that you also have a gift, a free gift to the listeners.
We're actually organizing bi-monthly events.
Mhm.
So anybody who would like to come to virtual dinner parties, which are virtual events where entrepreneurs come together, share feedback, and give value to each other, and also create new connections. So if you're an entrepreneur, very valuable because you can get clients, you can create some business relationships or even friendships, while also improving your dating life and working on your skills. So I would advise anybody who would like to improve their dating life while also bond with other entrepreneurs to get to my Facebook group where you will find like more information about the event and where the event is and all the details.
Awesome. So thank you so much for sharing, because what I want to add at the last part is do it, because I've done also a virtual dinner party, and I've learned amazing new people. It really enriches your life, enriches your knowledge, and you don't know who you're gonna bump into, and also you're gonna have a lot of fun. So yeah, I highly recommend to do that as well. And yeah, that was yeah, it was really cool to have this chat with you, Matt, and also to share your knowledge. And again, because you're a young entrepreneur and have this vision of helping other men. Again, it's I have my respect for you. So awesome, and I want to thank you for having this interview with me. So yeah, for to close up, how can they follow you? How can they find you?
I can put a link to the Facebook group somewhere to the event description of this podcast or whatever will be available.
Yeah, I will also put your initials and the links, everything in the show notes. So I will take care of that. So Matt, thank you so much for having this interview. I've also yeah gained some knowledge for you as well from you as well, and a lot of respect. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Vincent.
Hey Lions, thank you for listening. Glad to have you on our journey to the authentic self. Want to learn more to embrace your potential? I invite you to keep listening. Do me a favor and smash the like and subscribe buttons, as this helps the show reach more listeners who need to hear these messages. See you next time.